this week's episode of Sword Art Online 2, the moment you've all been waiting for is here. Kirito versus Death Gun. Sword to sword, man to man. This was a pretty good episode. I will say, though, that there was a lot of build-up to it. The first half was kinda slow. It was basically just more of Sinon and Kirito coming up with a plan, which involved using this other character by the name of Dark Wind as a decoy, who seemed like he would have been pretty awesome if they would have expanded on him a little bit more. Essentially, he's just this one badass number 2 player of GGO who has the ability to dodge bullets like a boss and run like the damn Roadrunner through the desert. And he does have a few cool standout scenes, but Sinon is the one who gets to take him out with one big shot to the chest. His entire body just explodes from that attack, and it's one of the better action sequences this week, and that's because Kirito's also running around like a Jedi on crack with his lightsaber, cutting through all of the bullets. But this is all a mere appetizer to when we finally get to Death Gun. Death Gun is a great villain. I love everything about this character, and my theory was right, even though it really wasn't much of a theory at all. Death Gun is that one member of Laughing Coffin who had the skull mask, and he had a confrontation with Kirito and he was captured, and Kirito did not want to know this guy's name. He didn't want anything to do with him, and he was done. And one of the main conflicts this week is they're trying to figure out who this guy is. He calls himself Sturban, and according to Kirito's nurse, that's German for death. One of my favorite things about the battle between Kirito and Death Gun is right before it happens, both him and Sinon have this little sniper off where they both shoot at each other at the same time. And I thought it was going to go into the whole stereotypical route where the two bullets were just going to hit each other, but they actually just barely pass each other and Sinon's scope gets taken out. But she actually manages to destroy Death Gun's rifle, so that pretty much just leads him to using this weird weapon, which I believe Asuna called it an S-stock or an S-stoke. I'm not really sure what this thing is. It's essentially like almost like a rapier-type sword weapon. Like, it's just really pointy and shit. It kind of reminds me of the things the ring wraiths use in Lord of the Rings, and he kind of uses it in the same manner, where it looks like it, like, kind of poisons Kirito almost, or it like paralyzes him for a second when he uses it, but he's able to use it to quite a dangerous degree, and almost kind of like Asuna when she does like her crazy barrage of swings and slashes. And this is just the beginning of their fight. We have no idea where it's going, but I love the fact that Death Gun is just intimidating Kirito by letting him know that he's a real killer. He followed through with everything he did. He had the intent of murdering. Kirito was just a guy who was looking to save himself and others, and he sort of looks down on him because of that. This just adds a whole new level of crazy to Death Gun, but I also love the fact that since Kirito does not know his name whatsoever, that just makes him all the more mysterious. And, you know, we really haven't had any background on this character at all. He barely appeared in the first season at all, and all this stuff we're seeing with him getting captured, like, that's all we've seen. We didn't even really get to see the battle between him and Kirito when they were in SAO, and I imagine they'll probably build up to that eventually. But even at the end of the episode, Kirito looks like he's about to be killed. But we all know that Sinon's going to jump in any second now, either with her sniper rifle or some sort of other weird weapon, and somehow get in the way. I'm not really sure what this is going to result in, but obviously I think we're really close to learning the true identity of Death Gun, who he really is, and they'll probably give us their whole backstory on this character when they finally get to that. Otherwise, I can't wait to see what that is. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Sword Art Online 2? Not perfect, but it was still a really great episode that featured a lot of that classic Sword Art Online action, particularly in the middle of the episode when they introduced the character of Dark Wind, the badass red-haired mohawk guy. And they didn't really do too much with him, but I did like the fact that he did have a few standout scenes. But again, Sinon, she's just a badass sniper. The first half of the episode didn't really do too much for me, but the second half completely made up for all of the action, and of course finally getting into Death Gun and actually seeing a few flashbacks where it is confirmed he is that one member of Laughing Coffin who does wear that skull mask. And it's also hinted at that the other members of Laughing Coffin could be helping out as well, because before they decided to use Darkwind as a decoy, there was a chance that the other members of Laughing Coffin could be at his place, getting ready to kill him as well. So that was why it was so necessary for both either Sinon or Kirito to actually take him out. So that they would have to leave, and it wouldn't look as obvious. Also, Death Gun is just... maybe it's just the fact that you can't, like, see his real emotions because he's wearing a skull mask, but he's so disturbingly intimidating because even when Kirito mentions that he knows how he's doing things, it doesn't really break his resolve. In fact, it just makes him more crazy and badass when he finally decides to start attacking him. And that coupled with the great animation and the artwork and the music just really made it seem very atmospheric. Every scene with Death Gun this week just had my complete attention 100%. He's an incredibly intriguing and mysterious villain, and probably my favorite thing about the entire second season of Sword Art Online 2. I just love Death Gun. He's such an awesome character. And the fact that Kirito's using a lightsaber. Every single time they decide to use a scene with him using the lightsaber, they always up the ante in a completely different way. The first time, he was just knocking bullets away. Now he's running through the desert going crazy at like high speeds, and it just really gets the blood pumping. I really wish there were more scenes like that. The only negative about this week's episode is the first half is a little slow. I wish they could have maybe cut some of that stuff down by even half, and maybe included some more action with Dark Wind. This episode is what we've all been waiting for. It's been leading up to the confrontation between Kirito and Death Gun. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, guys. Kick-ass stuff. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up. And before you leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Sword Art Online 2. Do you have any theories as to why Death Gun is doing all this crazy shit and why he has some sort of strange connection to Kirito? And what do you want to see from the future of the Sword Art Online anime series? And make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. There's a little button up here that you can click on. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.
Do you like Amazon.com? I know I do. Corey and I now have an Amazon link in our video description box below. And if you go to it and buy anything through Amazon.com, it will support our channel. So bookmark that link, make it happen, and support our channel without having to do a damn thing.
Another great way you guys can help support our channel is by donating directly through our PayPal link in the description box below. We recommend $2 a month, although this is completely optional. But the best way to go about this is by sneaking into your mom's room and taking $2. This way, she won't even notice. And we won't have to shake you up for all of your lunch money. So guys, that concludes this review today. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.